When I was 12, my father bought me a copy of Acid Music Studio 1.0 and a sound card that plugged into the front of my Gateway, I believe, computer. It was a tower. From age 12 to about age 21, I was just producing constantly in Acid, even after every single other production tool, including FL Studio, blew past Acid in terms of functionality. With this blunt force tool, I was able to create productions. Then I just kind of fell out of practice. I started relying on other producers to find my sound. Anyways, I realized that I would need to learn production again if I wanted to see the songs that I'm writing today through to the end. If I wanted to have full control over my sound and stop trying to just piecemeal things together by haphazardly communicating with producers about what I wanted out of the sound, I had to get my hands dirty and relearn the new production tools of the era and just get back into it. And in this video, I'm going to share all the steps that I'm taking in order to be fully producing my own songs by the end of the year. So let's get into it. So what do we got here? What is this?
This is Jay Dilla's Fuck the Police.
And you haven't opened it?
No, I've been saving it for a good day. I figured today was the right day, so I'm gonna get busy, boy. Yeah, this thing is really cool.
That's amazing. I can't believe it's a record.
Yeah. There we go.
It's for you. Yeah, it's for my street niggas. Feel it? On the count of three, say fuck the police. 1, 2, 3, fuck the police. Yeah, fuck them. Applaud these niggas. Damn right. We could lose a few of them. We got enough of them. My niggas on the corner, they be dying.
You're the whitey, dude. This instrument has been my primary method of making sounds since right before I graduated college. I started performing live a whole lot more and singing in bars and nightclubs and just stopped trying to make releasable records altogether. But I've moved on as of this year to trying to up my game from just singing over my crappy guitar playing. At the beginning of this year, I purchased this Boss RC505 looper, which I also did a review on, I'll put right here. Before, I would just write by using my guitar and singing over a chord progression, just gibberish. And I did actually a video on that process as well, which I'll also put up here. And that's really helpful, but if I have to play guitar while I'm trying to think up the melodies, makes it very difficult. It really upped my writing for that time, but I want to finish what I'm writing. I want to make songs with it, and I've been hiring producers to do that, and a lot of them have done a great job of eking out new sounds that I could never achieve, but I want full control over my sound now. I want to really get back into producing, which is a big reason why I have purchased a copy of Ableton Live 10. Now, Ableton is the software that's being used these days to make electronic music. Some producers use FL Studio still, some producers even use Cubase, but they are the outliers. Now, I'm still learning about Ableton, so pardon my ignorance on a lot of this software. Like 90% of it I still don't understand. But what I do understand is that it has two views. The first is one that I'm rather familiar with, which is the arrangement view of Ableton, which is basically a timeline. It's like how I edit these videos. Building a track on a grid with your tracks kind of aligned vertically and then your timeline going horizontal, much like I edit these videos. And I'm very familiar with that way of creating, but it's not exactly the quickest way to do it. Especially when you're writing productions, you're just trying to get ideas out there, experiment with a bunch of different instruments, try a bunch of different patterns and melodies and drum beats. It doesn't really speak to that method of creation because you have to make everything work on the grid. The other method of using Ableton is with the session view. So the session view is a clip launcher, a mixer, and a sequencer all in one, plus all of the virtual instruments and effects that you would want to play with the actual sequencer functionality of the software. So for instance, I can put a MIDI drum rack here, I can swap in and out single one-shot drum hits, or I can use entire prepared drum kits. I can add virtual instruments, I can add synths, I can endlessly daisy chain effects and modulators to all of these instruments. For writing your productions, even writing entire songs, this view saves a shitload of time and it really unlocks your creativity because once you get fluid at using Ableton, you can just compose entire songs so that by the time you actually go into the timeline, your song is pretty much done. So I say all that to say that Ableton is a monster. It's quickly becoming my favorite software that I've ever worked with outside of Premiere Pro and Facebook ads. But there's something that you can add to Ableton in terms of a creation stack that makes it all the more easy. And that is this, the Ableton Push. Now, Ableton had previously partnered with a MIDI controller manufacturer to make the Push 1, but the Push 2 is manufactured entirely by Ableton. So Ableton figured out, hey, let's take over the manufacturing, control the deep hooks in this thing, make it completely optimized for our software. With the Push 2, I can pretty much control almost any parameter inside Ableton using one of these knobs or pads or buttons that are on here. I mean, it's very much like learning to use a video editing keyboard. You learn the hotkeys so that you can get around so much faster. So I can go from creating a drum beat to setting the length of a loop and then sequencing. I've got my drum rack right here, my loop lengths over here, and I've got a sequencer right here. So I can just mark off hits that I want for the kick drum and then if I want to just play around with launching them in different iterations, I can do that as well. So what this is doing is it's bridging the gap between my lack of an ability to produce for myself and my want to write without leaving things unfinished. When I'm done writing a song, yeah, lyrically, melodically, it's done, but there's so much more that needs to go on before even one of my fellow producers could handle it. Before, I was just handing them a melodically and lyrically written song and going like, please figure out a sound for this. Now I can find that sound and give it to them and they can take it to its full realization. And by watching them do that, I'll learn how to use the Push and Ableton more effectively to where I could probably do it myself. So that's my goal. And I'm already learning a shitload about the Push. Like, I'm already getting pretty good at it, which goes to show you that if you go through any software or instruments documentation, you can get really good at it really fast. Now, I started off by just going step by step through all of Ableton's videos, and I learned a lot about Ableton Live and the Push through doing that. But I also purchased a course, and I definitely wanted to give a shout out to Warp Academy. I bought their Push 2 Jumpstart course and it's been awesome. I learned all this stuff about the Push 2 that even my friends who have been using Pushes since they came out didn't know about it. And now Kenny, who has had a Push 2 for way longer than I've had this one, is using that course to learn even more about it than he already did. And we're talking about a kid who uses Push to make badass music, so he already knew a lot about it. I think by just assuming you know nothing and assuming you won't be able to effectively create until you just go through every step of learning it, then you'll be pretty good out the gate and you can get better a lot more rapidly. I try to do that with any technology. Go through the user manual, study it like you would a textbook in a college course. Just really try to gain an understanding of it. That's how I've learned complex learning management softwares. It's how I learned Facebook ads, and it's how I intend to learn this Push, is just by doing the boring work, watching video after video, understanding every little feature, even if I'm never gonna use it, because that's what unlocks your potential to be truly creative in a platform. So you're looking at me at my newbie phase on this thing, right? I'm still learning. I still don't have finger drumming down yet, which shout outs Da Vinci. I hope to one day be as good as he is at it. And I'm still trying to get quick at moving around all the different workspaces in the Push. So going from this clip launching session view to going to the note view and composing melodies, and then switching in between different digital instruments, right? You can also mix right here on the Push, and I have barely scratched the surface of all that. So if anyone out there is like me and you're just trying to get a better handle on your production, I can't recommend the combination of Ableton Live and the Push enough, but just Ableton Live and a keyboard is enough to get you started. And I hope that my willingness to just kind of attack this head on inspires anyone out there who is like me me and just like has been afraid to get a handle on their own production and really take it the full circle. I think it's absolutely necessary to be self-reliant as a musician these days, because once I learn this production thing, guys, I can do my own videography, my own graphic design, my own marketing, and my own production. So I'll be a true full stack creative. I'll be able to do everything that has to do with my artwork by myself if I want to. And when it's time to get team members to help me work on all that stuff, I know exactly what they need to be doing and I can communicate with them in their language. So this is the final step for me. I will master this or I will perish. And I'm super excited about it. And I just wanted to come here on Monday morning to share that excitement with you guys. Leave your thoughts below. If you've already gone through this journey, you know, any tips you can give me, I'd love to hear them below. And if you're just going through it, I'd love to hear what you plan to do to kind of get a better handle over your full stack creativity, because it's super fun and it's made all the easier because I have Michael Cupp and Kenny Kaminsky here to answer any questions, provide support, and just kind of geek out on the journey with me. With that said, I've been Circa for Full Stack Creative. If you liked this video, if it was helpful in any way, or if you'd like to see more of my journey to learn Ableton, or if you just like help with creative tools and marketing your own music and building an artistic business, just like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications, and you'll never miss a single thing. And if you do, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.